So for the last 10 months or so, we've been dealing with this ongoing situation after WNBA player Brittney Griner was detained in Russia when they found hashish vape cartridges in her luggage. As you might know, many WNBA players go and play basketball professionally overseas during the off-season to make some extra money, and Griner has been doing so for years.
Can you talk a little bit about why so many WNBA players do play overseas in the off-season?
It comes with playing professional women's basketball, just supplement income.
And so she was over there doing just that. She got caught with this vape, which is extremely illegal in Russia, and so they threw her in prison. These laws around drugs in Russia are very well known, and foreigners to the country should know that they don't play about that sort of thing. In fact, in 2021, an American school teacher named Mark Fogel was detained and sentenced to 16 years in Russian prison for possessing 1 single gram of marijuana that he had been prescribed by an American doctor for his chronic pain, and he still remains there till this day.
You're watching the last moment of freedom for Mark Fogel, an American teacher heading back to Moscow last August for his 10th year teaching the children of U.S. diplomats. Airport personnel going through his bags, just minutes before he was detained for carrying cannabis into the country. His sister says no one in his family has heard his voice since.
14 years in a hard labor camp is essentially a death sentence for him.
Keep in mind, in light of all of this, Russia began invading the Ukraine, so this story was obviously getting even more focused considering she is a high-profile figure in the WNBA, which doesn't have a whole lot of well-known players.
She says you'd be no better than the 3rd best post player on the men's team.
I'm just gonna use that to fuel this. I mean, I'm better, but and I know that kind of gets at him, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, little man.
I'm glad she's that confident in her abilities, but she's also a little delusional.
And so they had her locked up, they kept extending her pre-trial detention, and it became obvious quickly that Russia would be taking this opportunity to try and make America look foolish and weak. And after around 2 months of her being locked up, the conversation really grew when the US did a prisoner swap with Russia, where we got back this Marine named Trevor Reed, who was imprisoned in Russia since early 2020 after getting into an altercation with the Russian police force. In exchange, Russia got back Konstantin Yaroshenko, a pilot who got caught flying in over $100 million worth of white into America. So the situation continues to heat up. The WNBA season begins 3 months later, and this adds even more fuel to the media fire. You had celebrities saying free Brittney Griner.
We cannot stop fighting for her. We cannot stop believing for her. And we will not stop hoping for the day when we can welcome her home safely.
We are BG.
And then you had a whole lot of other people saying that she should have known the rules, and she must now face the consequences. And that just because she's a celebrity, she should not get any sort of preferential treatment. So overall, this whole situation became very polarizing very fast. Her wife was doing press, she called her a political pawn, and even called for Joe Biden to help them out.
When you're sitting over there in your country, they haven't come to your rescue yet. I know that it makes her feel good because she doesn't want to be forgotten.
Brittney then also writes Biden a note that he reads and now considers her case to be a top priority for himself. And then in July, 5 months after her being detained, Brittney finally goes to trial and pleads guilty to having the vapes in her luggage, saying that it was all really one big mistake, and she really had no intention of ever breaking the law. They even presented a note from an American doctor, allowing her the substance for fatigue, but obviously only in America, like in the case with the school teacher. And then finally in August, Griner is found guilty and sentenced to 9 years in Russian prison.
I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here. I want to also apologize to my parents, my siblings, my Phoenix Mercury organization back at home, the amazing women of the WNBA, and my amazing spouse.
This was of course massive news, and Biden basically vowed to bring Brittney home. This is when talks of another prisoner swap between Russia and the US began. And after months of negotiation, we landed where we're at today, where Brittney Griner is coming home 10 months after being arrested, in exchange for Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, who is also known as the Merchant of Death.
Viktor Bout, in my eyes, is one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
On the face of the earth.
Without a doubt.
Now keep in mind, Victor has been locked up since 2008, but to suggest that he's still not a very dangerous person would be crazy. In the words of the former chief of operations for the US Drug Administration, Boo was providing tens of thousands of guns and weapons to dangerous groups of people for decades all around the world. He was even described as the man who makes wars possible.
He could move this stuff and drop it with pinpoint accuracy to any desert, to any jungle, to any other remote place in the world, right into the hands of what I refer to as the potpourri of global scum.
Now many people are calling this the worst trade of all time. I mean, this was worse than when the Red Sox traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees so the brain-dead owner could fund his little Broadway play, and that curse lasted 68 years. Letting free a man who is a danger to not only America, but literally people all over the world, for someone who plays basketball for crowds smaller than what a high school football team receives, is insane. At the end of the day, yes, I am very happy that she's free, but at the cost of releasing a total piece of shit like this, I can't help but feel like we got absolutely fleeced. It's almost like we were out here eating out of the palm of their hands. But I will say though, I also see a lot of unjust hate for Brittney herself. At the end of the day, I do feel like she was used as a political pawn both for Russia and for America as well. Yes, she made a huge mistake and she put the US in a very shitty situation. But should we hold the fact that she was freed in this way against her or against the administration? It was just very clear that in this situation, Russia really had all the leverage over us. We really should have gotten much more in this trade, like possibly also bringing home this Marine, the teacher I mentioned earlier, and also a few other Americans imprisoned in Russia. But I want to know what you guys think about this situation down below. I just thought it was a very interesting situation. As always, I do want to thank you guys for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing. But as you guys know, it's been your boy the Tan Superman, and some other news stories out here need to be covered, so I'm out. Peace!